Hey, what is going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having an amazing day so far. So, I've been going through Mark Batterson's book, Chase the Lion, not John Maxwell. Mark Batterson, my bad. And I took some notes on the 10th chapter called The Lion's Den, and I thought I'd share those notes with you guys just to kind of give you all some motivation. So, yeah, let's get started. In chapter 10, The Lion's Den, he starts us off with a verse from 2 Samuel 23:17, which says, "Is it not the blood of men who went at the risk of their lives?" Okay, I'm going to kind of lean forward here because we are hanging out. I'm going to pause what's going on in the background. It says, in the grand scheme of God's good, pleasing, and perfect will, eternal gain infinitely offsets earthly pain. God doesn't promise us happily ever after. He promises so much more than that, happily forever after. Chasing a 500-pound lion demands complete consecration. It's not a win, lose, or draw. It's life or death. No escape plan. No backup plan. We celebrate Benaniah because he came out of the lion's den alive. And that's an amazing feat. But it's not the most amazing part of the story. It's not coming out that is courageous. It's going in. It's not about coming out with an album. It's about going into the recording studio and laying down tracks. It's not about coming out with a loan. It's about going into the bank with a bang-up business idea. It's not about coming out with a sale. It's about going into the meeting with a perfect pitch. It's not about coming out with a book deal. It's about going into the publisher's office with the best manuscript possible. My son's having a blast over there, so don't mind him. We live in a culture that idolizes success and demonizes failure. But in God's kingdom, the outcome isn't the issue. Success isn't winning or losing, it's obeying. It's honoring God whether you're in the red or the black. It's praising God whether you win the election or lose it. It's giving God the glory when you're in the win column or the loss column. If you succeed at the wrong thing, you've failed. If you fail at the right thing, you've succeeded. Just as courage is not the absence of fear, success is not the absence of failure. Failure is a necessary step in every dream journey. If you don't try out, you'll miss out. Then you'll live the rest of your life wondering, what if? Don't let the fear of failing keep you from trying. God doesn't always call us to win. Sometimes He just calls us to try. Either way, it's obedience that glorifies God. Okay? He says that I can only imagine the adrenaline that surged through Benaniah's veins when he faced off against a giant Egyptian and went toe-to-toe with two lion-like Moabites. But they were men, which means Benaniah could guess and second-guess how they would punch and counter-punch. But a lion? Far more unpredictable, and unpredictability produces high levels of anxiety. Benaniah was probably as nervous as he had ever been, but he channeled his adrenaline. It's how you handle adversity. It's how you handle disappointment. It's how you handle mistakes. It's how you handle an offense. Those things will make you bitter or better. And the answer is up to you. Even if it isn't your fault, you can take responsibility. Don't let it steal your joy. Let it fuel your fire. The goal isn't winning. The goal is God's glory. And that isn't contingent upon the final score. That is the final score. So consecrate yourself today, and amazing is on the way. That sounds great, doesn't it? But one of the hardest things to trust God with is the outcome. That's true whether you're running a campaign, running a business, or running a race. What God cares about most is not the polling numbers, the quarterly earnings, or the winning time. We live in a culture where many people base self-worth on net worth, but in God's kingdom, they are statistically unrelated. Our reward directly correlates the motives of our heart. If you do the right thing for the wrong reason, it doesn't count. So it's not about the voting record, business record, or win-loss record. It's about doing the right things for the right reasons. The key to pursuing your dream is doing it for intrinsic reasons. In other words, it can't be about fame or fortune. The will of God is not wealth, health, and prosperity. It's not even winning. The will of God is the glory of God. The 11th chapter of Hebrews is one of the most amazing chapters in the Bible. It's an unparalleled celebration of faith, but it's also a definition of success, and the definition is somewhat surprising. It says, I do not have time to tell about Gideon, Barak, Samson, and Jephthah, about David and Samuel and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, and gained what was promised, who shut the mouths of lions, quenched the fury of the flames, and escaped the edge of the sword. So far, so good, right? All's well that ends well, to quote Shakespeare, but unfortunately, the chapter doesn't end there. Here's the rest of the story. It says, there were others who were tortured, refusing to be released so that they might gain an even better resurrection. Some faced jeers and flogging and even chains and imprisonment. They were put to death by stoning. They were sawed in half. They were killed by the sword. Here's my question. Were only half of these heroes in the will of God? The ones who conquered kingdoms, quenched flames, and shut the mouths of lions? Or was the other half in the will of God as well, including those sawed in half? The will of God is not an insurance plan. The will of God is a dangerous plan. The will of God might get you killed, but if God gets the glory, goal accomplished. And the eternal reward we receive will infinitely outweigh the temporal sacrifice that we make. Every prayer will be answered. Every sacrifice will be honored. Every good deed will be rewarded, and every seed of faith will bear fruit. And that, my friends, is the last bit of notes that I took on this chapter. I hope you got something out of it. I know I did, which is why I took so much notes. I love you guys, and that's why I share with you each and every single day what I learned, because otherwise head knowledge is just that, head knowledge. I want it to impact your lives as well as mine. I love you all. Go out there and have an awesome day.